Let's understand about the hiring process from the international point of view because a lot of candidates are aspiring to move abroad. Uh, and resume again plays an important role. How different we have to tailor our resume for different countries apart from India.
The best way to write bullet points is using action verbs.
Hmm.
Where do I find this? Is Harvard. Harvard has given you, I think, a 25-pager document on how your resume has to be tailored.
Okay.
It's a very, very good document to look into with a list of all the action verbs.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sugat and I'm a product manager at Meta and I create content related to product management, interview experience and career. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to check some of my previous videos where I have covered a lot of interview experiences of companies like PayPal, Google, Microsoft, and hope you enjoy it. So far, I have only covered videos related to candidate success stories, but for the first time, let's try to understand what happens behind the scene. As promised in my previous video, we have Vishal again who gonna be sharing all the resume tips and best practices. Resume being a very important part of the recruitment and the hiring process. Let's understand from a recruiter what he or she looks into the resume when they receive it and what candidate should keep in mind when drafting a resume. So Vishal, over to you. Talk us about the resume best practices, or how do you actually shortlist the candidate based on resume?
There are a lot of things to look into resume, Sugat, first of all. And firstly, I would like to say is there is no one resume which fits all the job.
Correct.
So I think being lazy is something which we need to step out of. We need to tailor our resume for each and every job you apply in. That doesn't mean that you need to fake your skills or experiences, right? It's just that you are probably putting them in a different words, uh, restructuring the words based on the job description you are looking into as well. So as a recruiter, the first key thing is, again, before I jump into that, the first question I get to ask is one pager resume a good thing or a two-pager resume?
Yeah.
Those are very common thing I get asked, right? To be frank, there is no hard and fact rule of one or two pager or three pager, right? But in general, I would say two pager is still okay. Try to keep it in one pager, but let's say you come with 8 years or 10 years of
Yeah.
experience and you have worked with different companies, it's still okay to keep with a two-pager resume, but nothing more than two pages
Got it.
because you will lose out a recruiter's attention, as
Yeah.
I mentioned before as well. So, second thing which I would look into is the executive summary, right? I know it's very unusual, but executive summary, again, it gives you a very high level gist on what you're experienced in and what you're actually looking for.
Hmm.
As a recruiter, I look into the executive summary trying to understand what your vision is, what you want to do,
Yeah.
and what you have done in the past. At a very high level, it gives me a quick run through on your resume in that way.
Correct.
Second thing is clearly listing your experiences in a reverse chronological order.
Interesting.
The reason being, always have your recent experience on the top.
Yeah.
No, none of the recruiter will have time to go till your end of your resume.
True.
So always have that in reverse chronological order. And mentioning education is something which I would suggest doing it as well, even though you come with experience.
Hmm.
Educational experience is something some companies to look into that to a certain level, right? For example, let's say you're looking to hire for a product manager in reality labs
Yeah.
or AI team. Then we want someone who really has understood or studied computer science, who can understand the back end of computer science, right?
Got it.
So that is why it makes important for us as a recruiter to understand what educational background you come from.
Hmm.
Third thing which we look into is the leadership journey, right? When I mean a leadership journey, it need not be having a full-fledged managerial role. It might be a small scope of leading teams or small scope of leading any of the projects in that way, right? How well you have articulated that in your CV. As a product manager, you are considered the CEO of your product. So how well you have led or you have those leadership skills in your CV is something which we look into. Uh, Leadership might be ownership as well. So it can be both leading and owning things. Second thing which we look into is the impact, right? When I talk about impact, it's all about quantifiable metrics.
Yeah.
Make sure you highlight them in bold. This is a practice which I do. When I try to highlight my metrics in bold.
Got it.
Not the entire sentence, but only the metrics. So when you have those differentiation in a CV, generally all the resumes would be in the say plain text, right? When you highlight these metrics in bold, it grabs users' attention.
Correct.
So this is something which, as a best practice, I would do whenever you have metrics. I can understand, let's say, you created a feature which led to an improvement of 18%, 20% of user adoption, which is a huge thing. So that is something which you need to mention and you need to highlight things. Third thing which we look into is cross-functional collaboration, right? So as a product manager, you work with a lot of teams.
Correct.
So how do you collaborate and how have you proven yourself collaborating with different stakeholders? That is something which we look into. And again, your core skills as a product manager, like all these are core skills. Again, this is something which we want to see it on resume as well. Apart from a collaboration, we also want to look into if you have done any additional certifications or upskilling, right? So the reason it's not that we are looking for someone who has done a product management boot camp or thing, but we are looking for someone less, as I mentioned in the past, the niche about being a AI product manager. Then let's say you did a certification from Google or any other Microsoft in that case where they provide AI certifications. That is something which you need to highlight because that is ideal for the role which you are applying for as well.
Yeah.
And the next thing which I would look into is always keep it in bullet points. If you write summaries, you are losing it out.
Got it.
As a recruiter, I would never read a summary of a CV, right?
Yeah.
Bullet points, just read the point. Okay, this makes sense to me.
Correct.
So the best way to write bullet points is using action verbs. Where do I find this? Is Harvard. Harvard has given you, I think, a 25-pager document on how your resume has to be tailored.
Okay.
It's a very, very good document to look into with a list of all the action verbs which you can use for each of your pointers. And the other thing which I would look into is probably with regard to your experience working with customer user-centric or customer-centric design, right? Because as a product manager, you need, it doesn't mean that you have to be a UI UX designer, but you need to understand what kind of design might choose or might impact, right? If I'm not wrong, you can correct me as well. So
Correct. Yeah.
So that is something as a recruiter I would look for in a CV. And apart from this, the overall thing is, as I said, keep it very crisp and short and in bullet points. And one of the best tool I have used for resumes, right, for tailoring the resumes is called Resume Worded.
Okay.
So I wouldn't use ChatGPT over here. Rather, Resume Worded is amazing. I have used it in the past, and generally what it does, I'm not promoting the tool or doing anything over here, but based on my personal experience, it ideally uses AI. Even before the era of ChatGPT, it used AI and machine learning to understand what is the job description you're applying and how you can tailor make your resume to stand out as well.
Got it. Thanks. I think couple of follow-up questions on this. Number one, let's say you mentioned you're hiring for an AI product manager. How focused are you looking for candidates who don't have any AI experience? Again, is it again coming to shortlist, and will you just shortlist candidates with the AI experience, or even the general PMs can also apply there?
To be frank, even a general PM could apply. Again, it depends on the requirement of the role, right? So let's say we are looking for establishing a new team and we want the first group or principal product manager to come in and lead the direction for the team. In that case, it's a mandate that we want someone with a AI experience, right? Again, it's highly hypothetical and scenario based. But let's say someone who's at a mid and entry level and wanting to move into AI, then as a recruiter, I would look into what, apart from your core work, if you have done any of your personal projects, right? Or probably your portfolio, where we look into if you have done your part projects on AI,
Yeah.
because you need to prove that you have that skills, right, to perform into that role as well. At least the basic skills, apart from your core work as well. So yes, for sure, we do look into, but again, it doesn't stop there. So let's say entry-level product manager or mid-level product manager in the past has pivoted roles from being a, a like a data product manager to AI product manager or any other product manager, right?
Correct.
That would also give me a positive note or a strong pointer saying, okay, he or she as a product manager can move into a different role, can upskill themselves, bring
Got
up to
it.
the speed, and start performing.
Awesome. Now, to the other part of the question, let's say the person has got entire AI experience. Person might be a data scientist or data engineer, and but not a PM, right? Will you consider him or her in that position as well?
To be frank, yes, I would consider, but again, it depends on what skill set they bring, right? So, as a PM, you have some core skill sets which you
Yeah.
can bring into, like having the empathy, user centric. That is something which we look into. If you are able to prove that, and if as a recruiter I get a strong sense that, okay, you have all the core skills required, and you can pivot, and I can consider giving a chance of taking you through the first loop
Yeah.
of the process, then I would surely do that.
Great. Couple of other questions which I had in my mind was how rigid is the job description? What I mean over here, let's say we have specified that I am looking for a candidate who have a 5 years of experience in the PMing world, but lot of folks with 2 years of experience also apply to the same job profile. Are you like how rigid are you on those requirements?
Again, Sugat, this is a completely a situational question, right? So let's say you are, it depends on the seniority of the role and the structure of the team and overall scenario of the company. So I would say certain times we would be rigid
Okay.
of minimum years of experience of 5 years. The reason being, let's say if we are building a new team or we want someone to lead a charter in that way, then we would be rigid on the years of experience, right? But let's say if the team is a very mature team and we have people with different layers, like different levels of experience within the team, then we would be flexible on considering the minimum years of experience. Let's say you outperform the interview process.
Got it.
I can give you an example, a very quick example
Yeah.
here. In the past, I did hire a candidate with 3 years of experience, like not even 3, 2 years of experience as a software engineer, right? As a like probably a L4 or L5 software engineer in the past as well.
Wow.
So it is possible. I'm not saying no, but for that, it's not possible. It would not be possible for every candidate, right? You
Got
have to
it.
be exceptionally well. You have to outperform. When I say outperform, it's not about your core role, but what apart from your core role have you gone beyond and done extra?
Understood. And I assume the other requirements like he looking for someone with an MBA or IITs and all, it gonna be same, right? Situation. Sometimes people will still consider or anything else.
To be frank, I think that is gone now, Sugat.
Okay.
Those things have changed now.
Okay.
There was a time when I started my recruiting journey, 10 years, like, yeah, close to 11 years before. We did have that notion, right, that people from IITs, people from IIMs, MBA is a core thing. But to be frank, no.
Got it. That's
It's
really
no more a requirement at this stage right now. Yeah.
awesome. Let's understand about the hiring process from the international point of view because a lot of candidates are aspiring to move abroad. Uh, and resume again plays an important role. How different we have to tailor our resume for different countries apart from India?
Very good question, Sugat. I think now is the era of people moving abroad, overseas, in fact. I think each of the country has a different practice of applying for a role,
Yeah.
right? So, firstly, as a aspirant, I need to understand what exactly the country or the practice in the country is. So, how do I understand that is go to the common forums. There are a lot of forums, right?
Yeah.
Probably Reddit or I'll not talk about the forums, but we have a lot of other forums where you can go try to understand or talk to your recruiting fraternity friends as well. So each country has a different thing. In India, a cover letter is not a common practice. It's still okay to have just a resume and to apply for a role. But let's say someone is applying for a European region.
Yeah.
Cover letter is a super, super crucial part.
Okay.
I do know it's very old school kind of a thing, but people do believe in cover letter even today in these parts of the country, world, in fact. And tailoring the cover letter is super important. Again, people do use AI, ChatGPT, and stuff. But let me tell you one interesting thing, right? As a recruiter, it's very easy for me to identify which is authentic, which is AI or ChatGPT generated one.
Correct.
So being authentic is super, super important again over here. Taking ideas from AI is okay.
Yeah.
But if you're just using that and applying for roles, you will be rejected. I can be blunt over here, right? The reason being, as I said, authenticity and transparency plays a key in getting hired as well.
Yep.
So, tailoring the cover letter is super important, and as I said, each country has a different way of tailoring the cover letters as well. So I would suggest looking into the forums and trying to build a cover letter. So ideally in cover letter there are three different things which goes into, right? One is what is your vision. Second thing is what is your experience. Third thing is how do you fit for the role you're applying for. So always make sure that you justify, quantify things, and you use past experience to show that relevant skills as well. So
Got it.
this is something which I would suggest mentioning in your cover letters as well.
Awesome. And how about the format of the resume? You mentioned about one pager, two pager, but another type frequently asked question is, should we make it just text-based Word file, or it can be with pictures and two columns, fancy templates and all?
To be frank, I'm not a believer in fancy templates. So this is personally my
Yeah.
opinion, and I'm talking about. That's the reason I gave you an example of Harvard, right? They have an amazing, very simple, very clear, crisp, plain text resume format, which I use it even till date. So that is something which I would suggest anyone. But let's say you're applying for a designer role, right? Then your approach would be much different.
Correct. Yeah.
That's where you show your design skills by designing and crafting your resume, in fact. But as a PM, I would say it's still okay to uh, go through a single pager or two pager, in fact. But adding photos is something which I would never recommend.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you two things. One is it would make you biased for someone who's looking into your CV. And second thing is, well, it's not your biodata end of the day. It's just it's your resume. So it's talking about, there's a difference between biodata and resume,
Yeah.
right? So it's talking about your work experience, what you can bring to the table, and they can take a call without looking into your face as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm a strong I strongly disagree on putting photos into the resumes, and as I said, it would be a way of biasing the reader of your resume as well, which I wouldn't do it.
Got it. Amazing. I think again, thanks a lot for sharing all these tips and best practices for resume. So please, folks, do take a note of whatever Vishal just shared once you apply to your next role. Vishal, before we wind up this video, any final thoughts again you want to share to the audience on the resume best practices?
Yeah, I think resume is a very, very crucial part, right? It is your representation, in fact. So as a recruiter, I do not get to see your face, or
Yeah.
I do not get to see you or talk to you in person. So always be very authentic when you're building your resumes and making your resumes, in fact, because we do see like thousands of resumes, and a good recruiter can easily identify what is a good and what is a bad resume, and
Correct.
what is AI and what is not AI generated resume as well, right? So try to be authentic, try to customize your resume for each and every role you apply for.
Yeah.
And the other practice is try to keep it simple. Do not overcomplicate it, or do not put a lot of information into it. Try to keep it as simple as possible as well.
Got it. Cool. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video, and do comment in the comment section what were your key takeaways. And again, if you have any other questions for Vishal, don't forget to mention it. We're gonna come up with another interesting topics and let Vishal answer all those queries. Until then, see you all in the next upcoming videos. Thank you all.